This is the road to the Concacaf Women's Gold Cup. And tonight from the Estadio Independencia in Esteli, Nicaragua, it is the host side Nicaragua taking on Honduras. Hi everyone, Steve Schlanger, and we welcome you to this qualifier for next year's Women's Gold Cup. It is a partly cloudy evening in Nicaragua, temperature in the mid-60s, and a perfect night for football. And this is a match in League B, Group B. Nicaragua sitting at the bottom of the group without a win, 2 losses and 2 draws, while Honduras is in second place with 1 win, 2 losses, and 1 draw. Both sides have already been eliminated from the possibility of moving on here, as El Salvador will be the team from this group that advances to a playoff, and they are the only side from this group that still has a chance to make it into the group stage of the Gold Cup next February in the United States. But that being said, still a game here tonight for confidence, form, and the future, as these two sides that border each other. Of course, Honduras, the neighbor to the north of Nicaragua, and the two capitals separated by just about 140 miles. They, of course, are in close proximity, so anytime they get together, in and of itself, it carries a certain weight to the proceedings. And now the pregame ceremony underway on the pitch at the Independencia. This venue that first opened in the early 1960s was renovated in 2012 and is the home venue for the Nicaragua national side. And preparing now for the parade of the two teams onto the pitch here. Both of these teams relatively even in terms of world ranking right now. Nicaragua currently sitting 113 in the world. Honduras just 3 spots below them at 116. Each has hit a high in the mid-80s. Nicaragua at one point was 86 in the world. Honduras reached a best of number 83 on the planet.
Damas y caballeros, les pedimos por favor ponerse de pie para el himno nacional de Honduras. Damas y caballeros, les pedimos mantenerse de pie para el himno nacional de Nicaragua.
The national anthems of each side here in Esteli, Nicaragua. And even though there is nothing statistically at stake for these two nations, neither will be advancing in the competition. Playing for your flag, for your country, brings a certain currency, a certain gravity, and they will most certainly be feeling that here tonight under the lights in Nicaragua. Perfect night for football with the temperature in the mid-60s as we get a glance at the starting 11 for the home side. Nicaragua preferring a 4-4-2 formation for their manager, Dorival Bueno, the 55-year-old Brazilian who has also managed national sides in Peru as well as his native Brazil. Captains now meeting with our officials at midfield and our four-person crew led by the American, Alex Billetter, the native of Orlando, Florida, who played at the University of North Florida back in her playing days in college. And as an official, has taken charge of events such as the U.S. Open Cup, the USL, and also, most recently, the NWSL Challenge Cup final played this past September. Richie Hernandez and Ninoska Solis, the two captains, getting in the picture with the officials as you see the starting 11 for the visitors from Honduras. Their typical formation is the 5-3-2. Their manager, Fernando Benegas, the Honduran native, so managing in his home country. First year for Benegas taking charge of the women's national side. So once again, Honduras second place in the group. Nicaragua at the bottom in fourth. Just one win between them so far through the first 4 of 6 matches in the group phase. Quality assignment for this referee. Alex Billetter of the U.S. and a native of Florida, taking charge of an international match here. And now poised for football. Ideal conditions in Nicaragua for this international fixture. Temperature in the mid-60s, partly cloudy skies. The home side, Nicaragua, in the white. Honduras making the trip south. They are in the blue, and these two countries bordering one another. Honduras to the north of Nicaragua, and the Hondurans making the 140-mile trip to the southeast for this match here tonight. It is also the second meeting in this group between these two sides. They also met back in September in Tegucigalpa, which is the capital of Honduras, that match ending in a 1-1 draw. And quickly the first corner of the match for the home side, Nicaragua looking to play the ball in the box. This is a Honduran side that does have pace, especially on the flanks, and they will look to hit on the counter here this evening, while this Honduras group typically likes to be on the ball. They prefer possession. And this is a team that is capable of providing width across the pitch, so we will see them work the ball from side to side. Honduras, a team that doesn't mind absorbing the pressure, sitting back, and again, trying to use their pace on the counter to create those situations going forward, trying to get some overloads and overlapping situations where they can overwhelm and outnumber Nicaragua going the other way. The way this competition works, this road to the Concacaf Women's Gold Cup, it serves as a qualifier for the Gold Cup itself, which will be played for the first time in February in Florida, as Nicaragua, for the first time, has to defend here, but easily winning the ball back. The top finishers in League A will qualify for the Gold Cup group stage, while the second-place finishers in each League A group and the first-place finishers in each League B group, which is what we are watching here tonight, two teams from League B, they advance to the prelims. So basically, when you win your group in League A, you go straight to the group stage. For this League B, however, it's essentially an opportunity to get into a playoff, and it's just the first place team in each group from League B. In this case, El Salvador, the team that is going to wind up winning this group. El Salvador will advance to the playoff, the prelims. It'll be a single-legged playoff with the winner then advancing to the group stage of the competition in the U.S. And again, El Salvador has already clinched first place from this group. They have booked their spot in the playoff, while Honduras, Nicaragua, and the third-place team, Martinique, from this group have all been eliminated. But not stopping Nicaragua from starting brightly here, looking for an opportunity in the final third. Elizabeth Moreno getting bumped off the ball. And that's played through nicely. First good opportunity on goal, but it's shot wide. Nicaragua penetrating the box, and Ariari Mejia, the product of Real Esteli, right here in Esteli, Nicaragua. Terrific chance. Could have slid that one through the 6 to get a touch on goal, but instead went for the frame. And Mejia, one of 5 players in the starting 11 for Nicaragua that play their home matches in this very stadium for Real Esteli, which holds its home games here at the Estadio Independencia. So very familiar with this pitch and the venue. Nicaragua desperate to finally get on the board and win their first match here in the group. They are the only one of the 4 teams without a victory so far, and only 2 goals scored through the first 4 matches. Meanwhile, Honduras with 1 win, but only 1 more goal than Nicaragua. They've scored 3 to this point. Maria Rivas plays it back. She plays for Una Managua Femenino here in Nicaragua, her club association. Five minutes deep, still scoreless in Nicaragua. Harmless ball bounced in and easily handled. Madeline Nieto, the keeper from Club Olimpia back in Honduras. This is a Honduran side that likes to split the goalkeeping duties between a few different keepers. Madeline Nieto, the younger of the 2 keepers. The other is Sherry Arzu, the 32-year-old. Meanwhile, Angela Gutierrez, who has the ball here in goal for Nicaragua. Clear and away, their number 1 keeper, the 33-year-old, who was first capped for this Nicaraguan national side over a decade ago, way back in 2012. And she has been the first choice keeper pretty much ever since. And you can see just how much space Honduras is content to let Nicaragua have. Just sitting back and settling into a low block, especially when the ball reaches their final third. Nicole Garcia with the throw, headed on. Scampering towards the ball, Yanusca Solis, the captain, but Nicaragua lose possession. But so far, Honduras, on the few occasions where they've won the ball, unable to possess it beyond one or two passes. This one of 28 matches played in this November window across the FIFA Women's match calendar in the month of November. As we wind things down now, just 2 days away from the month of December. And that's going to be the first free kick of the match for Nicaragua here. It'll be pretty far out, so hard to make this a dangerous threat on goal. Hannah Lee taken down, the American from Salt Lake City. And really a needless foul by Gabriela Garcia. But again, from distance here, going to be tough to threaten the keeper and Madeline Nieto. But Hannah Lee, as well as Ariari Mejia, talking things over. Looks like Lee may be the one to take it. Played college soccer at Utah Valley University in her home state. Set the single-season assist record for Utah Valley. She'll just lay it off. And Mejia, long-range effort and easily handled by Nieto. Maybe an ill-advised distribution there. Sometimes just the simple play is the proper one, the most effective. Roll it out to one of your defenders, maybe throw it to the wing. Those volleys can be imprecise at times, and it just concedes possession back to your opponent. Nicaragua has tried on a few occasions now to make their way down that right flank. That's the preferred track to venture into the Honduran end. That time, nothing doing. And Nicole Garcia, the throw. Good switch of fields. Turned around by Kendra Haylock. On splitting midfielders, but then giving the ball away, Hannah Lee. Nicaragua, though, once again, quick to win it back. And immediately getting players pushing forward. Here is Vanessa Altamirano. And going to ground, Nieto. So she's had several touches here in the early going. Nothing that has really troubled her all that much. Has not had to make a difficult save as of yet. 10 minutes gone by here in this first half. Nicaragua, the Las Pinoleras, as they are known, just 2 points in the group. They began things with their first League B group game, losing to El Salvador here at home 3-0. Really put them on the back foot before they went to Honduras, as I mentioned back in September, and these two teams tied into Goose 1-1. And then Nicaragua lost to Martinique on the road 1-0. Tied Martinique here at home 1-1. And that brings them to tonight's game here. They do have one more group stage match coming up this Sunday at El Salvador. Mariano Rivas. Honduras looking to get forward. Played down that left wing, but there is speed on that back line for Nicaragua. And that's well defended. Mariela Medina getting back. And now this time racing forward, it's Yesenia Flores. Goes around her defender. Flores looks to cross in front all alone. And 1-0. Nicaragua here at home take the early lead. Doriana Aguilar from Real Esteli nets the opener, and it's Nicaragua on top here on this Wednesday night. Aguilar didn't have to do a lot. The real heavy lifting handled by Yesenia Flores. What a move she makes here, and then wide open. Aguilar mistake. Keeper going the other way. And Flores gets the credit. Yesenia Flores, who had a goal against Martinique back here 2 matches ago. Plays as one of the 2 forwards on this Nicaraguan side. 24 years of age, the native of Managua. And from a very football-minded family. Her sister has also been a professional. And Flores setting that one up on a platter. And a silver one at that for Aguilar to get the game's first goal. And Nicaragua, with just their 3rd goal now in the first 5 matches of the group stage. So we'll see if, even though that goal came in the first quarter hour, if that'll bring Honduras out of their defensive shape and maybe inspire them to try and get forward a little bit more, get on the ball more. And so far, it's Nicaragua still just playing geometry and craftily working it around the pitch. Garcia the throw. And right now, Honduras just overmatched. Nicaragua has come out with an assertive attempt, and with the game plan of really taking it to Honduras. And why not? They have nothing to lose. And once again, Honduras losing the ball in the middle of the pitch. Nicaragua, so good defensively too. This is a team that, as we have seen, has the speed and the offensive acumen to get forward, to be dangerous, create opportunities. They're so dynamic when they're on the ball, but when they lose it, they do have that assertive defensive mindset where they're not going to sit back. They're going to go right back at you. And when you're a team like Honduras that doesn't see a lot of the ball, it can be unsettling because all of a sudden you take possession, but then it's like, what now? And then you have Nicaraguan players coming right at you, and it doesn't give you a chance to settle in. Early ball played over the top here. That forces Gutierrez to come out. She vacates the goal and allows Honduras to tie the match. In the 16th minute, against the run of play, Deborah Tobias has leveled for Honduras here in Nicaragua. First shot on goal of the match for Honduras. Hadn't even come close to getting a shot off, but Angelo Gutierrez, an ill-advised move to come out of the goal there on the ball over the top. And all Tobias had to do was just flick it, and all of a sudden we're tied at 1. Well, if you're Gutierrez and you're coming out like that, it's a ball you got to get to. Your Chelly Humphreys was the defender for Nicaragua who was just muscled off the ball, just beaten to it. Deborah Tobias, an aggressive play. And just like that, we are tied at 1. Same score the previous meeting between these two clubs finished in. And that's one of those things that can be so disheartening for a club when you're dominating your opponent and all of a sudden they get that one chance and a mistake is made that leads to a goal. And now the challenge for Nicaragua. Mentally, get right back to it. They know they are the better side right now, so it's just a matter of continuing to apply the pressure, their game plan, and the tactics that have served them so well to this point. And it looks like we have a shin guard issue here for Honduras and Kendra Haylock, a player from Otagu. Now Honduras actually started the group phase here in League B in pretty good fashion. They won at Martinique in their opener 2-0. Then they had the tie with this Nicaraguan side back at home in September 1-1. And now we're going to get a whistle here and a foul against Honduras against Lesbia Puerto. And slow to get to her feet here, Hannah Lee for Nicaragua. She's just hammered from behind. And she is still down, holding that left ankle. So that'll require a little treatment here. In the 19th minute of a 1-1 game. First goal from Doriana Aguilar of Nicaragua. Answered just minutes later by Deborah Tobias for Honduras. As I was saying, things started off pretty well for Honduras before it started to get sideways on them. As we take a look back at the foul a moment ago, and Puerto coming in hard. Lesbia Puerto is the top goal scorer for this Honduras national side here during this group play. 2 goals. Played college soccer in the U.S. for Fairmont State in West Virginia. And it'll be a free kick for Nicaragua. Your Chelly Humphreys will just play possession here for Nicaragua. Solis on the wing for Rivas. Now Solis, the captain. And some miscommunication leads to a throw for Honduras. So Honduras, after their first 2 group matches, had 1 win and 1 draw. But then that's where things really went south for them. Back-to-back losses by a combined score of 6-0. They lost at home to El Salvador 1-0, and then at El Salvador 5-0. Race for it here. Kayla Aguilar going against Lisbeth Moreno, and the throw belongs to Nicaragua. That pace on the back line for Nicaragua is very noticeable, even though they weren't able to use it to stop that first goal for Honduras. Really surprising the way Honduras was able to level. Their only opportunity so far in the match. Now the 22nd minute of this 1-1 game. First free kick for the visitors. And in just a few months, it'll be the inaugural edition of the Concacaf Women's Gold Cup. So far to this point, 7 nations have secured their berth. As Honduras threatens here, long shot from distance, but Lesbia Puerto really couldn't get much on it, and an easy stop by Gutierrez. The U.S. as the host nation, Canada, and 4 CONMEBOL guests for the group stage have already locked in their spots. Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, and Paraguay. As I mentioned, El Salvador is also a team that advanced to the prelims, so they are in the single-legged playoff to try and get into the group stage by virtue of winning this very group that Honduras and Nicaragua are playing in. Long run for Puerto. She cuts it back. Lesbia Puerto, leading score for Honduras, has nowhere to go. A lot of white shirts back in the 18, so she'll just keep possession and play it backwards. Lesbia Puerto with both of the goals for Honduras in their win on match day 1 against Martinique. That got them off to the promising start. Good battle on that right-hand side. Moreno trying to hold her ground there. Number 3 in white. Kayla Aguilar, also very aggressive. That's not the first time those two have tangled so far here in the early going. As we come up on the midpoint of this opening half of play. 1-1 the score from here in Esteli, Nicaragua. Doriana Aguilar, the opening goal for the home side, and then Honduras leveling just a few minutes later with Deborah Tobias. And a free kick for Honduras. And this will be the first dangerous one that they have been given. That's a good cutback there by Mera Ramos. Maybe a little too far out, but certainly the first one that could provide some options for this Honduran side. And it's Johanna Espinal and Richie Hernandez, the captain, who are discussing what they might do here. 3-woman wall called for by Gutierrez. Espinal, long shot, and right into the chest of the keeper, Gutierrez. So difficult to really make it threatening from that far out. You almost have to hit a knuckler or a one-hopper right in front of the keeper to make it tricky. The other option would be to go short, maybe a soft chip where you clip it into the box, get a runner in the 18 who can head it on, try to create a combination perhaps, but just an outright shot with velocity from that far out is hard to connect on. Things kind of settling down now after the early flurry by Nicaragua. And again, a long shot. But just not the shot that they want. Doriana Aguilar, who has the goal, seems short of options, but instead of just maintaining possession and looking around, try to chip a long one. Sometimes players, when you get in the vicinity of the 18, just inside the final third on the pitch, it can be tempting to start and think about going direct, go for a goal. You get impatient, and sometimes you launch an ill-advised shot when there might be a better option available. Honduras starting to grow into the game a little bit more now. Getting that tying goal really helped. A team that was short on confidence early finally found themselves in a much brighter situation. Breaking the lines with the pass here. They've been so good down this right-hand side. That's where they've been most effective, very dangerous. That's where the opening goal came from. And there's a giveaway, though. Ill-advised back heel. And a foul whistled on Honduras, and Nicole Garcia taking down Ariari Mejia. Now it started with a poor attempt at a pass, and all of a sudden it leads to a free kick here. Looked harmless for a moment, but now this could be an opportunity for Nicaragua as they look to take the lead once more here in the 28th minute. Mejia. Line drive, top of the 6, headed on, and out for a goal kick. Now Flores, who assisted on Nicaragua's goal earlier, just couldn't get the direction right on the header. Each team with one more group stage match to go. For Nicaragua, it will be at El Salvador this Sunday, while for Honduras, they will be hosting Martinique on that same day. Overlapping runner. And trying to find Aguilar down that wing. They have pretty much ignored the left flank here in this first half. Now in the 30th minute. Overall, the Gold Cup will feature 12 teams, including the 2 teams that qualified for the Summer Olympics, the 6 teams that qualified from the group stage play-in, and the 4 guest national teams. Once we get to the actual competition in the U.S., the 12 teams will be split into 3 groups of 4 and will compete in a single round robin. 8 teams with the top 2 teams of each group and the 2 best third-place teams advancing to the knockout stage. Half an hour in here, 1-1 between Nicaragua and Honduras. Aguilar opened the scoring for the home side, and then Tobias leveling for the visitors. First 10 minutes were all Nicaragua, and after they scored that opener, it looked like they may just pour it on, but that goal for Honduras came out of nowhere against the run of play. Unexpected, first and only shot on goal, and that has kind of changed the vibe of this match. And all of a sudden, It's become more of a standoff and less one-way traffic than what we saw earlier. The U.S. qualifying as the host nation for the Gold Cup next year. Canada, the Concacaf Olympic playoff winner. Brazil making it in as the 2022 Copa America Femenina winners. Colombia booking their spot as a result of becoming the Copa America Femenini runners-up. Argentina, third place. Paraguay, fourth place. So those are the teams locking in their spots already for that Gold Cup competition. See how many white shirts just swarm the ball when Honduras gets possession. Maria Rivas has to backtrack for it. The all-time series in CONCACAF between these two teams. (13-4-2) in Nicaragua. Rivas content to go backwards, knowing that Mariela Medina was there. Part of what makes this Nicaragua team so cohesive is the fact that so many of the players play for the same club teams here in Nicaragua. They're not spread out among a lot of different clubs, so they have the familiarity already baked in. And here is Moreno, taken off the ball, but a throw for Nicaragua. And a player down for Honduras. That is Kayla Aguilar. And that'll be a corner. Second corner of the match for Nicaragua, and from the same side. They went short last time. All of the scoring, though, the 2 goals coming within just 3 minutes of each other. But outside of that, not a lot of shots on goal, nothing that has really been all that problematic for either keeper. But now we have Madeline Nieto, who is down in potentially a cramp here, it looks like, for Honduras. That was not a contact play. Now it's the second time the training staff has had to come on for Honduras here. And it becomes a de facto water break for the 2 sides, a chance to talk to the managers. Of course, Dorival Bueno for Nicaragua, the 55-year-old Brazilian who has managed not only his native Brazilian national team, but also in Peru before coming here to Nicaragua. And on the other touchline for Honduras, it's Fernando Banegas, the native of Honduras here, talking to his club. Now Nicaragua trying to figure out more ways to break down this Honduran back line. This one of several games taking place here at the end of November as qualifying continues, the road to the Concacaf Women's Gold Cup. And one of 6 matches altogether being played tonight. Also, Antigua and Barbuda in action. The Bahamas against the U.S. Virgin Islands. Dominica against Guyana. Jamaica and Panama. And another match from this group also being played. Martinique hosting El Salvador. 40th minute of this opening half. And it looks like Nieto is good to go. One of the issues for Honduras, they don't have a defined path forward when they do get the ball. No strategy to methodically work their way up the pitch into the final third. And an unnecessary foul here. Their only goal coming off a direct ball over the top, a product of an opportunity that presented itself and not really their match tactics being employed. Well, that's some clever footwork by Maria Rivas on one of the rare times that Nicaragua has moved down the left-hand side of the pitch. And then Hannah Lee bumped off the ball by Johanna Espinal. Hannah Lee, the native of Salt Lake City, who again played collegiate soccer for Utah Valley University and helped to lead them to their first ever at-large bid in the NCAA tournament. This will be Mejia. No, instead it will be Hannah Lee who delivers. Initially ran over the top of the ball and then circled back. Nicaragua will maintain possession though. For Nicaragua, in addition to their last group stage match coming up at El Salvador on Sunday, 1 week from this Friday, they do have a match scheduled at Brazil, a friendly on the books with the Brazilian national side. So a couple of games coming up for them as they close out the 2023 calendar year. Good turn, good opportunity. Flores getting forward, tries to cut it across, but didn't create enough angle on it. She had Aguilar running into the box wide open, and Flores, who assisted on that first goal that time, didn't get it right. Needed to kind of cut it back and play it across the top of the 6-yard box because Aguilar was once again wide open, making the run. Could have been the first half brace for her, but instead we stay tied at 1. Final minutes, first half. But Yesenia Flores proving to be the most dangerous player on the pitch, which should really come as no surprise. She has the pace, she has the skill, and she has definitely been dynamic down that right-hand side. Pass behind its intended target by Rivas. Alondra Aguilar. Almeida Ramos doing well to maintain possession, fighting off a few defenders. As we come up on the final minute of regulation here in this first half, and then whatever injury time may be tacked on. Just 2 injuries of note that would potentially cause time to be added, but don't expect much to be placed on the clock here. Hannah Lee just stepping in with that right leg, but trying to apply the pressure to Honduras, hoping to get them to panic on the ball back in their own end. Kendra Haylock clutching the back of her left heel. And now they're going to say that 3 minutes of added time will be put up. And we are into stoppage time right now. Long delivery, top of the box. And a foul on Honduras here. Vanessa Altamirano, the player, slow to get up. Now as we wind down here at the end of the first frame, things taking a noticeable turn after the tying goal from Honduras. Early on, first 10 minutes or so, it was all Nicaragua. They finally got the breakthrough. They got the goal from Aguilar. It looked like it might just be a dominant performance all around, and they may add more, but all of a sudden, a few minutes later, kind of out of nowhere, Honduras was able to level this game when Gutierrez came out, left the goal vacated. It was a chip over the top by Tobias, and once Honduras tied this game up, since then, they've been more of a threat, more of a factor. It's still been Nicaragua, the better team overall, but Nicaragua hasn't been as controlling here when you look at the overall story arc of the way this first half has played out. Honduras will probably feel fortunate to go into the locker room tied at 1 here after the first 45. But in a match like this, when neither team is going to be advancing out of the group, where it's just for pride, posterity, why not be adventurous? Why not take chances? Be bold, creative. No need to hold back, to be conservative. Maria Rivas pops right back up as we're into the final minute of stoppage time now. Nicaragua will no doubt want to talk things over and figure out ways to take advantage of their one-sided possession dominance. The way they've been able to control the ball has not translated into a lot of offensive opportunities. How can they be more creative in the final third, get more chances? That'll certainly be a topic of conversation and the priority in the locker room as they head to the break here at the half in Esteli, Nicaragua. Doriana Aguilar, the opening goal for Nicaragua. Deborah Tobias responding for Honduras. And after the first 45, it is Nicaragua and Honduras tied at 1 here at the Estadio Independencia. The two first-half goals coming just minutes apart. Angela Gutierrez here, the keeper for Nicaragua, coming out when maybe she should have stayed in goal, allowing the tying goal from Honduras. Otherwise, this was a first half largely dominated by the home side. Both teams making their way back out onto the pitch for this second half from Nicaragua. Honduras and Nicaragua tied at 1 here at the Estadio Independencia. This venue that has been around early 1960s was renovated back in 2012. The home venue for Real Esteli, which many of these Nicaraguan players call their home club. So this is essentially their home stadium, the Nicaraguan National Stadium for these women home games. So very comfortable right here as the second half is about to kick off. Our referee from the U.S., Alex Billetter, the Orlando, Florida native. Her last big match was the NWSL Challenge Cup final in September. Second half on the move here from Nicaragua. Honduras and Nicaragua in the reverse fixture from their first meeting back on match day 2 here in group play. That match ended in a 1-1 score, and after the first half here in Nicaragua, we are also tied at 1. Doriana Aguilar for Nicaragua and Deborah Tobias of Honduras, the 2 goal scorers. Nicaragua dominating the first quarter hour of this match before Honduras leveled, and things started to tighten up somewhat here as that first half unfolded. And now we'll see what this second half brings, and it will start with the first corner of the match for the visitors. Didn't have a single corner kick in that first half of play, while Nicaragua had 2. And this will be Johanna Espinal from Dade County FC. Plays it out near the spot. And nobody in the vicinity for Honduras. But they may get another opportunity here. Flicked out by Hannah Lee. So it will be interesting to see. Does the confidence that Honduras eventually grew into as the first half wore on, does that continue into the second half? Or has Nicaragua kind of recalibrated, reset, and refocused themselves to get back to their dominant ways that we saw in the early going in that first half? Could go either way here. Nicaragua has proven to be a faster team, and now trying to use that pace down the left-hand side, which they rarely did in the first half. Chipped in looking for Flores. Most of their offensive opportunities came down the right-hand side for Nicaragua in the first frame. For Honduras, the question will be, can they hold the ball longer? This is a team that likes to counter in the first place, but the times that they did get possession in their own half with an opportunity to work the ball, they just were unable to hold it for lengthy periods of time, typically giving it right back to Nicaragua. Time of possession that was largely in favor of the host Nicaraguan side in the first 10 minutes or so. Started to even up somewhat as we got deeper into the first half, but Nicaragua coming out and trying once again to go direct, trying to create opportunities down the flanks. That's where their pace resides, and that's where they've been the most dangerous here in this game so far. Throw in here for Garcia. As a reminder, this game statistically does not count in terms of advancement. Both of these teams have already been eliminated from a chance to advance towards the Gold Cup. And so their qualifying campaign will each come to an end this coming Sunday when Nicaragua plays their final game at El Salvador, and Honduras hosts Martinique. The only squad from this four-nation group that will advance will be El Salvador, playing tonight against Martinique. They are unbeaten, 4 wins, no losses. They've captured the maximum of 12 points, and as a result, they will win the group and they will advance to the legged playoff. And the prelims of the Concacaf Women's Gold Cup to try and make it into the group stage for the competition in its first year in the U.S. in early 2024. And it's really been a dominant performance by El Salvador. 18 goals for, only 1 allowed to this point. So plus 17 in the goal difference. 12 points and just dominating the group altogether. For comparison and context, you've got El Salvador with 18 goals in first place. Honduras, the next best team, in second place, but 15 fewer goals scored. Free kick for the hosts, and the first caution issued here, a yellow card for Lesbia Puerto. Now, Puerto was the most physical player for Honduras back in that first half. She was whistled for a few different infractions and now finally gets the booking here. So the first yellow of the match comes out in the 51st minute. Oh, she got a lot of the ball there. Taking down Mariela Medina. Maybe the aggressive nature of the foul was what drew the card from our referee, Alex Billetter of the U.S. So a free kick for Nicaragua. Hannah Lee delivers. It's a good one. Headed out. And then a volley off the crossbar on the rebound. It's headed home as Nicaragua takes their second lead of the night. What a volley, what a follow, and what a finish. Doriana Aguilar, her second of the game. She's got the brace, and Nicaragua has the 2-1 lead here at home. What an initial shot that created the opportunity on the rebound. Initially headed out, but then the volley, and then no one there to pick up Aguilar. An easy header there. And it was Nieto at least getting a piece of that initial shot, guided off the bar. Had she not gotten a glove on it, that one was probably destined for goal. But in the end, couldn't keep it out. And then Aguilar just romping in for her second of the night. And now let's see if Nicaragua can stay engaged here. And instead of allowing a tying goal minutes later like they did in the first half, can they keep their focus here and maintain this lead? Against the run of play back in the first half after Nicaragua scored the game's opening goal, Honduras came back with shot on goal of the match and tied it at 1. Nicaragua trying to keep the pressure on here. Clipped in, headed back out. So for Aguilar, scoring both of the Nicaraguan goals, and neither were all that difficult. A fine setup from Flores back in the first half for a relatively routine finish, and then a rebound with an open header there just a moment ago. And now looking for the hat trick here. Getting on the end of this one. So not all that difficult of goals scored, but the key for Aguilar, right place, right time, and putting yourself in that position, making the proper runs, being attentive. And when you do that, you give yourself that opportunity to score the easy goals. Again, Nicaragua in search of their first win during the course of qualifying here in their 5th match. Opened up by losing to El Salvador, tied Honduras, then a loss to Martinique before drawing with Martinique in back-to-back games. And even though they're already eliminated from advancing, you want to win at least one. Want to get all 3 points in at least one of your 6 outings. Don't want to be blanked all the way through the competition. Nicaragua threatening again. Oh, a pass a little too far for its intended target and out for a corner. That was a good run by Arieri Mejia. And a good ball through the channel. Instinctive run, making that diagonal move. That was well thought through by Nicaragua. But instead it will be their 3rd corner of the match. They've gone short with all of them to this point and looking like they want to do that again. 55th minute. Now Mejia. Tried to blast it through. And only one blue shirt pitch. Not the time you want to play a long ball. But they do get the throw. And if Honduras can't come from behind, they will be the first nation in this group to lose 3 matches. That would leave them with a record of 1-3-1, while Nicaragua would improve to 1-2-2 through the first 5. Ooh, almost a handball there. And for Honduras, this would be 3 consecutive losses in the group after going unbeaten through the first 2. For Nicaragua, they've gone loss, tie, and this would be their first win if they can take this all the way home. But still a long way to go, over half an hour remaining here in Esteli. Now that they have recaptured the lead, this is where the possession-oriented style of Nicaragua can really pay off. They can be patient, just work the ball. No hurry in getting forward. And applying pressure high up the pitch here, really pressing Honduras deep in their own end. But that being said, and considering the ebb and flow as well as the various tactics, when you cut right through it and it comes down to it, neither of these teams has any reason to really hold back. Again, neither is moving on. They've both been eliminated, so why not take chances, be bold, get forward. Nothing to be defensive-minded about here. Go for the win. Even if you might leave yourself exposed or vulnerable in some ways you otherwise, in other circumstances, might not want to, there's no danger here. No consequences to be suffered. If you lose, so what? Go for it. And Moreno got to that one for a moment. In the end, it's a goal kick. And our first substitution of the match, it'll be made by Honduras. Carla Calix of Club Olimpia will be introduced here. And coming out will be Mayra Ramos.
Sustitución en la selección nacional de Honduras. Sale con el número 11, Mayra Ramos. Ingresa con el número 19, Carla Calix. Minuto 59.
So Calix in. 60th minute. And just about half an hour remaining here at the Estadio Independencia. Las Pinoleras, Nicaragua, against Las Catrachas, Honduras. In Honduras, trying to create something in the final third, but just taking the long shot from well outside the box. Lesbia Puerto, really no opportunity here, just a hopeful ball. The Fairmont State University player. She went to college in the U.S. in the state of West Virginia. Had 2 goals back on match day 1 in the 2-0 win at Martinique, where again Honduras started pretty well, unbeaten in their first 2 matches, winning on the road at Martinique, and then drawing with this Nicaraguan side at home in the capital of Toulouse. But since then, it's been all losses, and this could be 3 straight if they don't come from behind here tonight on the road. The whistle against Hannah Lee. One of a few Americans playing here tonight, or at least that have dual citizenship. Hannah Lee, the native of Salt Lake City, Utah. As I mentioned earlier, you've got the referee, Alex Billetter, from Orlando, Florida. Also, connections to the U.S. with some players that went to college and played collegiate soccer in the U.S. But right now, a pair of Honduran players both on the deck. Now you've got Kendra Haylock down. That's one. Haylock clipped there. And then the second player colliding with Hannah Lee, and that was Gabriela Garcia. Garcia seemed to have gotten the worst of it. But both players still down here at the moment. A reminder, this is one of 28 matches played across the region during the FIFA Women's Match window here in the month of November. As we take a look back at the goals from earlier, that was the first of the match. Doriana Aguilar opening the scoring, to be followed a few minutes later by Deborah Tobias. That would take us to the end of the first half, tied at 1. Then here in the second half, off the crossbar, and all of a sudden Aguilar with the header on the rebound. She's got the brace, and Nicaragua with the 2-1 lead. These matches here in the month of November, determining the last 8 that will advance to the Concacaf Women's Gold Cup, joining the 7 teams that have already secured a berth. Just a reminder, it's the U.S., Canada, and 4 CONMEBOL guests in the group stage, as well as El Salvador, having already booked their spot in that playoff, the prelims, the one-legged playoff. So we already know that the U.S., Canada, Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, and Paraguay are in the group stage. And then others will need to win a playoff to join them. And the stretcher coming out for the first time here tonight. Gabriela Garcia will be taken off. So at least for the moment, it looks like Honduras will be playing down a player. And we'll see if they'll make a substitution here. And in the end, it'll be a yellow card issued to Hannah Lee. So the free kick to restart play, Johanna Espinal standing over it for Honduras in the 65th minute here in Nicaragua. It's a good ball delivered towards the back post and overrun, but boy, that was dangerous. A chance to get onto the end of it. Lesbia Puerta just couldn't make contact. She beat the defender as she got behind Maria Rivas, but just couldn't make contact. That was probably their most dangerous chance so far here in the second half. And now a substitution as Catherine Rodriguez is going to come on, and she will replace the injured Gabriela Garcia. So 2 substitutions for the visitors, none for the home side to this point. Nicaragua with the 2-1 lead. 1 goal in the first half, 1 here in the second frame. Honduras with their lone goal coming back earlier in the first 20 minutes of the opening half of play. Players getting tangled up here. And that is going to be a foul against Kayla Aguilar. Things getting a little more physical here in the second half. Hannah Lee slow to get up after she was just issued a yellow a short time ago, and Aguilar just clanging into Hannah Lee. That's a bad giveaway. And that is going to be, I believe, a card. Yes, it is, on Honduras and Kayla Aguilar. I'll check it. It's actually going to be on Carla Calix, the second half substitute. So all of the yellow cards to this point have been issued here in this second half as things have grown a little more physical between the sides. 2 nations bordering each other. Honduras to the north. And that's a good ball through the channel. Cut back across, but nobody there for the home side. Could have probably taken another touch or two to maybe set something up and look for a target. Interesting how the possession has been more even though it feels like Nicaragua has really just owned this game. And that's going to be a foul on Honduras here. Maria Rivas down. Physical and chippy here. And just no need for Alondra Aguilar to get her foot in there. On the restart, Ariari Mejia. They just lost possession. That's just inattention there for Nicaragua. Errant pass. Kind of sloppy for Nicaragua in their own end here in the 70th minute. Nicaragua content to just kind of knock it around. And they're at their best when they've had runners into the channels, and also making those diagonal runs, looking to break the lines with their passes. But right now, sitting on this 1-goal lead, just taking a measured approach. That's some crafty footwork by Lisbeth Moreno. Nothing comes of it. Nicaragua without one of their top offensive players and best goal scorers here tonight, Diana Lopez, who had the goal in the first meeting against Honduras for Nicaragua. A player who's been on the national team for the last couple of years. A 30-year-old native of Managua. Coming into this game tonight for the home side, their record in Concacaf qualifiers over the course of 13 games, 4 wins, 7 losses, and 2 draws. Meantime, for Honduras, their record in qualifiers for the Gold Cup, 1 win, 2 losses, 1 draw. Now, Yesenia Flores for Nicaragua has gone kind of quiet here. Remember, she set up the first goal back in that first half for the home side and created several other opportunities. Yeah, she was extremely threatening down the right-hand side. Flores, the top scorer in the qualifiers, with 11 goals back in 2022. Led all nations in qualifying for the Concacaf women back last year. Flores so far through qualifying for the Gold Cup has 1 goal, that coming against Martinique. But Flores certainly a player with pace, with creativity, dynamism, and definitely a danger in the final third. Had 6 goals in 1 game last year. But haven't seen all that much of her here on the ball in this second half. Served in by Moreno. Now Solis. Honduras trying to counter, but boy, just note the speed of Nicaragua in defending, getting back. They definitely have more pace than this Honduran side, and that allows them to get forward and not feel vulnerable because they know they can recover. They can use their pace in getting back, so not worried about committing numbers up the pitch. That's a long-range effort. I don't know if that was kind of a wayward shot or a cross attempt. There was a runner there, but not the best ball from Kendra Haylock. And, well, in the end, close to being offsides. That's Carla Kalix, who slow to get up, kind of went down awkwardly as she reached for that. She's the player who came in early in this second half, replacing Mayra Ramos, who started this match. And now a quarter of an hour left to go from here in Esteli. Plenty of daylight here. Nicaragua. Now to Flores. And the cross partially deflected. One thing Flores might consider is what she did to assist on the opening goal of the game. Just use her pace. Just use her dribbling ability. Take players on 1v1. Try to get by them. Because she is definitely faster than a lot of the players on the back line for Honduras she is going up against. So don't settle for those crosses into the box when you don't have a target there. Just take players on. Try to beat them on the dribble so that you maintain possession and look for a better option when you get into the 18. A higher percentage pass that could lead to a better opportunity on goal. Garcia with the throw. Finds Kalak. That ball's going to stay in. And then finally ridden out for a goal kick. Now Richie Hernandez, the captain, trying to make a play on it, but just not strong enough. That's another thing that Nicaragua possesses, is that physical ability to wear an opponent down. And they've used that muscle to work on this Honduran side at various points in this match. And when you have that combination of pace and physicality the way Nicaragua does, it makes it very difficult for an opponent like Honduras to find an edge in a match like this. Elizabeth Moreno. Moreno again. Fakes the cross, now serves it in. Honduras would like to counter, but Nicaragua so swift in getting back. So many white shirts behind the ball. The second they lose it, hard for Honduras to get anything really optimistically going forward that looks promising. Now a long ball to no one for Honduras here. Nicaragua now collectively group stage, adding their two from tonight They have 4 goals through these 5 games here in League B in this group. That's the second most behind El Salvador, the team that won't be caught. 18 goals in all for El Salvador, sitting in first place. That's Calix down for Honduras. This came over the top, falling on the back of her head. '80th minute here in Esteli. Nicaragua, 10 minutes to go as they look to see this one out and seal what would be their first win here in this group. And even though they won't be advancing out of qualifying, it's always nice to finally get that first win in any competition, especially against a bordering neighbor, a rival in Honduras, the country to the north. So to be able to get a win here at home over Honduras, it'll still mean a lot to this Nicaraguan side. Handball going the other way. Only the second time in a match so far through the first 5 that Nicaragua has scored more than 1 goal. They've been shut out twice. They've scored exactly 1 goal on 2 occasions. For Honduras, this is the second time that they have allowed more than 1 goal, but it's the second game in a row. A 5-0 loss at El Salvador in their last match, and now giving up 2 here on the road to Nicaragua tonight. Well, Honduras able to enjoy more possession here as Nicaragua has now kind of started to sit back with this 2-1 lead. But the problem for the visitors, they are short on ideas and innovation and trying to create opportunities here. They just don't have much in their vocabulary in terms of options in the final third that they can seem to try. Relying on long balls and just conceding possession in the process as a result. And now the home side set to make their first change of the night. Alice Cruz, who plays her club football in this very stadium, she will come on, and Ariari Mejia will exit. So one of the many players who plays for Real Esteli on this Nicaraguan roster, playing their home games here in this venue. Aguilar pulls it back. She's got both the goals for Nicaragua here tonight. That's a good turn. Hannah Lee turning it back. And Nicaragua, again, content to knock it around. Just keep possession, chew on that clock. Poor giveaway, though, in the middle of the pitch. And going up over the top, the way they scored their first and only other goal. And Gutierrez this time stays a little closer to the goal itself and makes the save. You could see Angela Gutierrez start to creep out. And as it was, it's not like she stayed totally at home. She did come out past the top of the 6, but not totally committing herself and leaving the goal wide open the way she did back in the first half. And on what was a very similar play, long looping ball over the top, finding a runner on the end of it that led to that first Honduran goal. Trying to do it once again to tie the game for the second time here late in this second half, but that time Gutierrez was there to make the stop. 5 minutes plus stoppage time left to go. Flores plays it backwards, and now Humphreys. First 2 goals of the game separated by just 4 minutes. Only 1 goal so far here in this second half of play. Both of the goals for Nicaragua scored by Doriana Aguilar. And the home side closing in. Trying to put the finishing touches on their first win in the group. With 1 more game still to go at El Salvador on Sunday, while Honduras will host Martinique. Honduras seemingly dispirited here. They just can't get the ball from Nicaragua, not even making that much of an effort anymore because Nicaragua just kind of toying with them. They can pretty much do what they want right now, and Honduras has no answer. Hannah Lee with a good turn. Drops it off, and oh, that's a fine save. Madeline Nieto, her best of the match. And once again, the danger comes from Flores. Yesenia Flores, who set up the first goal, has had opportunities for others. Here she is on the turn now. Spins by her marker. Aguilar sitting on a hat trick, but she's offsides. And I believe a substitution is upcoming here. Yes, indeed. We'll have 2 of them for Honduras. Daniela Lovares first up. And Kayla Aguilar come out. And also, Denisis Santos will also come on here in the final minutes. So that's 4 substitutions for Honduras here in this second half. Santos, Calix, Lovares, and Rodriguez. 3 of the 4 playing their club football for Olympia back home in Honduras. And it looks like Honduras is going to get a corner kick out of this. Second corner of the match. And trying to get a lot of blue shirts up in the box here inside the final 2 minutes of regulation. This is Johanna Espinal with the in-swinger. Goes all the way through. And Honduras pushing for the tying goal. Again, looping it over the top. Gutierrez out of the goal again. And a goal kick. She got away with it, but oh boy, Deborah Tobias had another. This is the only way they've been able to challenge and try to score here tonight. And that's the third time that it's almost paid off. Gutierrez, though, took a heavy shot. She is down. And they're going to need to bring the trainer out here. Also a player, looks like that might be Puerto, who's down for Honduras. She's going to pop back up. But boy, oh boy, Gutierrez again coming out and taking a heavy hit. I tell you what, though, that was very close. If that ball's directed on goal, it goes in. So Gutierrez is going to have to be more careful and more selective about the times that she comes out of goal. And when you do come out, you got to get the ball. Either stay at home, or if you do commit yourself, you got to make the play. That's 3 different times that it's almost cost her. The first time it did, when Honduras scored the tying goal. And that was close. And that is going to take us to the 90, but obviously we'll have stoppage time added here now. And it's 5 minutes of added time that will be tacked on. And we'll see when that 5 minutes actually starts. I wonder if they may add even more here because Gutierrez is down, but that's something you hate to see, especially if you're head coach Dorival Bueno for Nicaragua. So late in a match like this that you've pretty much taken the measure of to get your keeper hurt late. But she's back up, and now into extra time here in Nicaragua. Oh, so strange. Every single one of the most dangerous chances for Honduras have come on exactly the same style of play. Long arching ball over the top of that Nicaraguan back line. And each time Honduras is able to get a player behind the line with an opportunity to challenge for goal. Now Nicaragua, now just trying to close it out, but conceding possession here. Not as crisp or sharp as they were earlier. And that's good work by Lee to win it back. And now some daylight for Flores. Hannah Lee, though, can't get to it. Honduras sensing they might have an opportunity here, but got to break through that very rigid back line of Nicaragua. And your Chelly Humphreys fault here. And that'll cost a little more time. And they see Santos called for the infraction after just coming on as a substitute. Now these two teams playing right now like they have something to play for. Not like two teams that have already been eliminated from continuing on here in the Concacaf Women's Gold Cup qualifying phase. That's going to be a yellow on Nicaragua. And Alice Cruz, their only substitute so far. And this very much has the feel of two teams that are still trying to advance. Still trying to play for something meaningful. That just goes to show you, even though there's nothing statistically at stake in terms of advancing, you got two countries bordering each other. There's a rivalry. Both want to win. And Honduras trying to at least split the points here. Trying for that tying goal. Final 90 seconds. Nieto up at midfield to take this free kick. Hannah Lee just going to blast it down the sideline. Flores running for it, and offsides is the call. And just 1 minute now left to go. So it looks like maybe one last chance for Honduras if they can get the ball forward. Why not try and go over the top once again? That's been the only regular way of creating an offensive opportunity. And here they are, trying to play it high and over the top of that back line. Nicaragua holding their ground, and a throw for the home side. And this should just about take us to that final whistle. Last few seconds here of stoppage time. Chipped out. Honduras keeps it alive, trying to play it back in here. Desperate for one final opportunity. Volleyed high in the air. Honduras scrambling to keep it alive and trying to create a chance. Can they get it into the box? Trying for the tying goal. Knocked down by Gutierrez. Cleared away off the line. What a moment. And what a chance for Honduras in the dying seconds past the allotted stoppage time. Mariela Medina down. The cross came in, and it turned out to be a shot that almost fooled Gutierrez. She spilled the rebound right in front of her. And now a corner kick. Denisis Santos, outswinger here. Plays it on the ground, comes through, and Nicaragua able to clear. Flores lets it run out. 1 minute past the allotted stoppage time. Honduras pushing for the equalizer. And that'll do it. It's over in Esteli. But it was dramatic at the end. Honduras almost a dramatic late tying goal, but in the end, Nicaragua hanging on here at home, and they secure their first win in the group play here in the qualifying phase of the road to the Women's Concacaf Gold Cup. A lot more exciting than the first 89 minutes or so would have led you to believe. A flurry at the end. Honduras on the road almost tying things up, but in the end it's a 2-1 win for the home side, with both of the goals coming from Doriana Aguilar, one in the first half, one in the second, and the only Honduran goal, Deborah Tobias, in the first 20 minutes of play. A nervy finish to this game for the home side, almost conceding the equalizer, but they do hang on. And in the fifth match of the group portion of this qualifying round, they get their first win. A 2-1 victory over a Honduran side that they had drawn with back on match day number 2. So the final score 2-1 from here at the Estadio Independencia. And Nicaragua, the final team from this 4-nation group to lock down a win. As we take you back through the highlights here and the final statistics here from Nicaragua on this Wednesday night. Teams tying in their first meeting back in Tegucigalpa, the capital of Honduras, in September, and meeting for the second time tonight in Esteli. And it was all Nicaragua in the early going. The first 10 minutes or so completely dominated by the home side. They were all over the place. This was the first real good chance that went wide from Flores. But then later, it was Flores setting up the game's first goal. Aguilar, convincing finish. And Nicaragua had the 1-0 lead. Flores just beating her defender with pace. And Aguilar wide open to slot it home. But then Honduras came right back. 4 minutes later, ball played over the top. Gutierrez vacating the goal, and Deborah Tobias. Just an easy chip into an empty net. The volley over Gutierrez, and it was 1-1. And it would stay that way going into the second half. It was 1-1 at the break, as Honduras had really gone through the gears and felt like they had grown into the game by the time the halftime whistle was blown. But then this is what happened early in the second half. The volley off the underside of the crossbar, and then Aguilar there for the rebound and the go-ahead goal, securing the brace with her second of the night, and the go-ahead goal that turned out to be the winning goal on the evening for Nicaragua. Madeline Nieto getting a piece to keep it out at first, but Aguilar first to it on the rebound, off the crossbar, and a header into an empty net for her second of the night. But then Honduras with some chances late. They were the most dangerous when they played those long balls in the air. That was when the Nicaraguan back line was the most vulnerable, because Honduras was able to get to them with those balls over the top. Gutierrez that time staying home. Nieto making a fine save for Honduras to keep him in it at the other end. And then late, things really got interesting. Gutierrez again coming out in almost the exact same style of goal that Honduras scored in the first half to tie it. They were looking to do it again here late in the second half. Gutierrez was shaken up as she really took a lot of contact, absorbing the hit there. And then maybe their best chance coming in stoppage time. Gutierrez giving the rebound up, but no one there for Honduras to convert. Looked like it was going to be a cross, and that was probably what it was, but turned out that it was on frame. Gutierrez had to dive back for it, and in the end, Nicaragua survives, and they win it 2-1 over Honduras here at the Estadio Independencia in Esteli. And the final statistics looking like this. Nicaragua outshooting Honduras 3-2 in terms of shots on goal. Possession winds up favoring Honduras, and maybe not a huge surprise considering the way they tried to press late in the match, but in the end, it is Nicaragua getting their first win here in qualifying. And as we close things out from the Estadio Independencia, once again the final, Nicaragua 2, Honduras 1, as we say good night from Esteli, Nicaragua.